What's up guys, my name is JadyCook5 and welcome to the review where Liverpool has just beaten Chelsea 2-1 at Anfield in the Super Sunday kickoff. If you haven't done so already, please hit that like button, please hit that subscribe button and don't forget to hit that notification button so you never miss a video. Well, what can I say? Liverpool 2, Chelsea 1. In a game that had a big load of build-up, in a game that's obviously always got the biggest load of build-up due to the size of the fixture. Just didn't really seem to live it out, unfortunately. I thought we started the game quite quickly, pressing down the right-hand side. Andy Robertson seemed to kind of shy for Nani Madueke's driving runs on the right. Seems to be that we kind of controlled the possession to a certain extent. And then I think it all just went downhill from the first penalty shout when Colwill did push Salah, but it was very soft. It was no way a penalty whatsoever. And then a couple of minutes later, we seemed to capitulate after Robert Sanchez miskicks the ball, it seemed to be, because the kick was so poor. They've obviously lost possession and they've given away the penalty, and it just went downhill from there. As much as we did get back into the game, it just didn't really seem to be our day whatsoever. Obviously, conceding that penalty was never really the good beneficial factor, but we just didn't seem to offer anything going forward. We had the odd chance, but there was never anything at a point where we seemed to grab the ball and thought, you know what, we're going to score here, we're going to do something with it. Defensively, we were all over the place. I don't know what the game plan was in terms of defensively, and I understand Maresca's system, but this passing out from the back nonsense with the goalkeeper's got to stop. Robert Sanchez nearly got caught out once again there after Cody Gakpo seemed to intercept the ball and he got lucky with it. Just didn't seem to be collectively really kind of with it today. That I just seemed so out of sorts. I'm not too sure if that's got the international break to blame. I can't tell you. Obviously we had suspensions today with Fofana and Cucurella, which is also a big miss. But yeah, I'd have hoped for a better performance. Going into the second half, obviously we scored an offside goal from Nicholas Jackson, which then got overturned onto one side. You think, okay, we're back in the game. And 3 minutes later, we go and waste it away again. And that was kind of all she wrote, to be honest, because we didn't create anything after that. It was kind of half chances. It was kind of if, buts and maybes. But apart from that, it was nothing really special. And realistically, when you look upon it, if we were to have kept it level at that point, I don't think Liverpool would have really created anything for themselves. Statistically, it doesn't look too bad. We had a majority of the possession with 57% compared to 43, 12 shots compared to 8, 2 on target, which is not good whatsoever, 536 passes compared to 409. So statistically, yes, it wasn't too bad, but unfortunately Liverpool seemed to have a game plan and they set out of it, and once they did get back into the lead, they seemed to do really well. Our Achilles heel is always playing against big teams. We just never turn up. We really do, and it's just I don't know why. I don't know what. It just seems to be that we just seem to capitulate against the top teams, and it's really frustrating because we just don't seem to put in a performance when it mattered. Looking upon it with the table, we could have really shot up into third today, but unfortunately that wasn't going to be the case. I'd have even taken the point, and realistically we'd have been above. We'd have been in the top five, and we'd have got into the Newcastle game with a little bit more of hope. But now, realistically, going into that Newcastle game, we have got so much riding on that if we were to drop points. Um, it's hard to say that Liverpool were the better team because I don't think anyone were special. I don't think anyone would top tip in that one. Liverpool kind of took their chances when fallen upon, and that was about it. But realistically, I wouldn't really look at that and go, do you know what? They were really, really good. Liverpool, they controlled this. They had a game plan and it set out well, and they were lucky that Chelsea didn't really exactly bring the game to them. That's my sort of understanding of it, and from what I've seen today. It's disappointing. It's never nice to lose, but the season is still we're short into it. Obviously, we've only played X amount of games. We've only played 8 games. We've still got another 30 to go. So we're in a good position in that sort of extent, but at the same time, we can't be dropping points in that sort of manner. So onwards and upwards, that's for sure. A big game against Newcastle. But before we do enter the episode, let's look at our player ratings and we'll assess all our team lineup individually and we'll go from there. This was the lineup that was originally set out for Chelsea. Sanchez in goal. Tosin came in for the suspended Fafana with Colwill with a partnership with Gusto was actually switched to the left. I'm sorry I didn't change that. James came in from injury. Lavia replaced Enzo Fernandez with Caicedo. With Sanchez on the left, Noni on the right, Palmer in the middle, and Jackson up top, which we are familiar to see. 4-2-3-1 formation didn't change in that regard. Going from the start to the finish, Robert Sanchez 5.5. I've never seen a goalkeeper that can be so good but so bad at the same time. He's so inconsistent, it's unbelievable. He could have done better for the goal for Curtis Jones, where it kind of came across face. He threw his body at the penalty, but not for this one, unfortunately, which was really disappointing to see because I felt like it was a shot that could have been saved. I felt like he just didn't expect the ball to fall to Curtis Jones, and that was that, in fairness. His distribution is awful. He had one moment where he had a great ball to Jadon Sancho on the left-hand side, and then he had another moment where he looked like he was going to pass it to Cody Gakpo and they were going to score. Again, just inconsistency seems to be his Achilles heel, and it's really concerning for someone that's supposed to be our number one throughout. So, yeah, it's unfortunate, don't get me wrong, but hopefully we'll see him play better against Newcastle. Moving forward to the back four, obviously Reece James came in. I don't think it was too bad. I don't agree with Enzo Maresca throwing him into the system, and ideally I'd have liked to have seen Renato Vega play out on the left-hand side. Obviously, he's in his own way of making his decisions, so he wanted to do that, but personally I thought it was the wrong decision to make. I felt like he looked a little bit out of his depth at some points, and I did feel like the Cody Gakpo was looking the fresher player compared to Reece James. But again, it's obviously a learning curve for himself, and it's a process in his injuries. Tosin Adebayo, probably the worst game I've seen him play in the Chelsea shirt today, hence his substitution in the second half. Didn't really seem to get into the game whatsoever, was lucky to stay on the pitch after that foul in the first half. And realistically, when you look upon that, then we've kind of counted ourselves lucky not being down to 10 men with the moment that he did make. Saliba got sent off for the exact same tackle yesterday, so there's no saying that why it shouldn't be. So yeah, not the best day at the office for himself. And same goes for Levi Colwill, was obviously gave away the penalty. His game was pretty solid apart from that, but giving away the penalty in such a sluggish manner is obviously needs to be something that's called upon. He had a moment with Mohamed Salah, which obviously wasn't a penalty, it was too soft, but then he gets himself stuck in again, and it's just not good enough. Did what he needed to do to some respect, but again, realistically, a 5.0 for Tosin and for Colwill. Malo Gusto, 5.2. Just was out of his depth today. The left back role didn't suit him in the first half, and even when he got switched to the right back role, I just didn't really think he was good enough. Every time that it was a ball on the right hand side, he just got beaten. There were so many times where the ball fell to him in decent areas, and he just absolutely lamped it wide. Just not good enough efficiently in terms of going forward or defensively, and again he really needs to buck up his ideas, because I'm not too sure if anyone else is seeing this, but I don't believe he's had the best of starts of the season compared to what we've seen for last, so something that needs to be improved, that is for sure. Moises Caicedo, 5.8. Didn't really do enough in the middle, was kind of caught out a lot of the time. His distribution again just wasn't good enough. Him and Lavia was just such a poor pairing in the first half, hence the change in the second for Enzo. And I'd go for a 5.5 for Lavia, just really was out of his depth. Some good turns, some good passes, but realistically he was second to every ball and he pushed himself up way too high and he felt like he was tracking back way too much. Jadon Sancho, 5.8. Didn't really seem to get into the game. Half and half penalty shout in the first half, but realistically, if that were to be called upon, I would have believed that would have been too soft. Didn't really get himself into good enough areas, and when he was called upon, just didn't really seem to offer enough. So yeah, definitely more from his part for Jadon Sancho. Cole Palmer, I'm probably kind in saying this, to be honest, 6.0. That's probably too kind because he was absolutely woeful today. Didn't offer enough, had to sit too deep. I can't slag him off too much because he's had a phenomenal season so far, but today we didn't see the Cole Palmer that we've seen in recent weeks, so I can only give him a 6.0. Noni Madueke is in 6.5. The first half he was really good, to be honest, making some driving runs against Andy Robinson, and he did look like a bright spark in a poor team, but didn't really do enough to be able to say that, that he was top. Had a half chance in the second half, but again, didn't really think he was anything special. And a 6.8 for Nicholas Jackson. Had a good moment, obviously, where he got the goal, and he had a good chance in the first half, but apart from that, I didn't really think he offered enough. Wasn't strong enough on the ball, didn't really create anything in terms of having his wingers rung off, so yeah, only a 6.8 for Nicholas Jackson. We did make a vast amount of substitutions and make a triple save after the goal against for versus Jones. Renato Vega, Enzo Fernandez and Benoit Badiashile all came onto the pitch. I'm not even going to comment on their performances. It was really irrelevant for their moves to even be made, to be honest. Renato Vega probably had the best chance in the second half. I didn't really understand the substitution because it didn't really offer us anything. I've never been a fan of Benoit Badiashile, and I'm still not to this day. Enzo Fernandez didn't really do any better than what Romeo Lavia did, so can't really say on his performance. Pedro Neto came on straight away for Jadon Sancho in the 45, and I thought he looked really good, to be honest, on that left-hand side. Made some driving runs, really looked like he wanted to go forward, just didn't really have any sort of chances kind of fall to feet. He had one half chance, but again, nothing special. And then Christopher Nkunku came on for Noni Madueke in the 76th minute, and he had a half chance where the ball was whipped into the area and he didn't really latch onto it. But apart from that, it wasn't really anything special. It's a hard one to take, as I mentioned. When you lose games, it's never any good. But the frustrating thing for me is just having it 24/7, where we're not competing against big sides, and that's the big point in our season if we want to compete or not. And that's going to have to change. And I know Enzo has only literally just been in this, obviously in this squad. And yes, he's got a lot of time on his hands, and a fair play to him. And he's been very honest. We're not at that sort of level at the moment, and I don't believe we are either. I do not believe that we're at the level of City, Arsenal, Liverpool. I just don't believe we're at that sort of level whatsoever. But yeah, realistically, it was just one of those where we just kind of have to push on, have to see what we can do in the moment, and just go from there, to be honest, because the season's going to keep coming thick and fast in the fixtures. Obviously, we've got to go to Greece against Panathinaikos on Thursday, and then we've got a big game against Newcastle United on the Sunday. So the fixtures aren't going to slow down for us. It's time for us to kick on and go from there, in fairness, and hopefully the results will change in hand. And yeah, that's it. It's a disappointing one, but we have to move forward. But that is it for this particular video. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. Please like and subscribe for more content, and don't forget to hit that notification button so you never miss a video. Cheers.